a visual artist, but I would consider myself multidisciplinary. I work in the arts, but I also work in education and a lot of interests, I suppose. I was born in Holland, in The Hague, and I lived there until I was 19. Then I moved to Ireland, and that's where I've been in the West. Longer here than I was there, and it does impact who I am or what I look at. Maybe the way I come at things is still, at times, like somebody new to a place. My work before this team, if you like, was more around decay and waste and things disintegrating, but also the potential for rebuilding or making new. It was important for me to use materials that were either found or already had another use and were reused, or were simple in their form, such as paper or clay or wood. The interest in mushrooms and everything, rust and smuts and molds and anything mycological has been there for maybe 5-6 years, but more in depth in the last 3. I have, for the last year and a half, I have a small studio where I finally can leave everything and walk away if I need to. I need quite a lot of storage because I do have a lot of stuff, because I reuse a lot of things, so you find stuff and you keep it for whenever. But I would also consider the places I go to find mushrooms or to look at mushrooms, so places like the woods, part of my extended studio, and then I do work from home as well, because you always have a notebook on the go, or I might do stuff on my laptop. Maybe this is central to my practice, is that I try and approach a subject or a theme or an idea from as many different angles as possible. And that means, for me at the moment, that means through language, that means through drawing, that means through making, that means through looking at materials or simple observation, and even sometimes sound, that kind of listening or using that as a material. They're all starting points, and then I suppose my response to those things with various materials is how I then develop something. So what does that need in order to work? So anything from digital drawing, a lot of photography, but I also play around with mushrooms as a material, so I make paper or mushroom materials to play with, so play would be a huge part of this always. I tried to narrow it down. I found that most of them are women at the moment. Robin Wall Kimmerer, Donna Haraway, Ursula Le Guin, Lynn Margulis, Gregory Bateson. Then there is the likes of John Cage, who was a fantastic mushroom forager, as well as an amazing musician. The idea of responding to a question or a topic or even a nugget of information or a thought with a material that feels appropriate is really important. So it's not, I don't set out to do something in a particular medium. I try to respond accordingly to what it needs, But I do find myself going back to the same things like paper, pen. Really simple. The materials would have to either be biodegradable or already be in the world, and I do find it quite tricky to decide on materials because of that, and the lifespan, the life cycle of these things, and where do they end up when they leave my studio, which is why I suppose paper is something that I keep coming back to, because it is something that can go easily back to the soil in a way. So staying with paper, or I've created a folded out piece of paper that has text and image on it, an idea of a book, and it seems like a really good way to bring all those things that I've been working on together in one piece and show all those different approaches and materials, techniques, and different ways of thinking and about mycology and mushrooms. How do we talk about mushrooms when we don't know anything about them? Really, because it's such a young science, and they're invisible in our world. They're mostly invisible in our surroundings as well. So finding language is important, and I do think that is part of how I approach my art. So for me, hanging in a gallery or getting the work out in that way isn't as interesting, maybe anymore. That doesn't mean I dismiss it or don't respect it. It's just, for me, audiences that don't necessarily come and see your work is important too. And this is books or zines, or it reaches a very different audience. And I like the democracy of paper and of access. It's a conversation rather than a ta-da moment. So. Born and raised in Holland, and I went to Steiner School, which is typist school, basically does everything through art. So very, very lucky in that way that I got to think through art, and that's still how I work. Being an artist it's not really something that I set out to do per se. It's something that I kind of need to do. This insatiable curiosity, like, it has to go somewhere. All these thoughts, all these contemplations, all these discoveries, thinking and working things out through my hands, through drawing, or it's part of how I do things. So it's not even a thing of like, oh, I want to be an artist. I kind of have to be because otherwise I can't function. Yeah, don't know any better.